Tennessee kicks off the season Saturday in Atlanta against Syracuse, a team that Vols fans may not be very familiar with. We're going to get to know Tennessee's first opponent of 2025 and tell you why the Vols are such big favorites. Hey, Lucas Panzica here from 104.5 The Zone and A to Z Sports. It feels good. Football is back. Tennessee and Syracuse at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to kick off the season on Saturday. And when you look at this Syracuse team at first glance, you may remember some of what they did last year, a 10-win season under Fran Brown, Kyle McCord setting records, passing for over 5,000 yards before going to the NFL draft, but you may not know much beyond that. Well, that's what I'm here for, and I'm going to tell you why Tennessee, by most major sports books, is a 13.5-point favorite against the Orange on Saturday. At surface level, that may seem strange because Tennessee also replaces a ton from 2024. Obviously, Nico Iamaleava is out the door. Dylan Sampson, the reigning SEC Offensive Player of the Year, is now a Cleveland Brown. Several other holes to fill on the offensive line and at the wide receiver position. But when you glance over to that Syracuse sideline, it's all of that and then some. The Syracuse Orange are essentially rebuilding their roster from last year. Kyle McCord, we mentioned the quarterback who set ACC records last year as an Ohio State transfer, is on the way out, and on the way in, as recently announced, is Steve Angeli, the former Notre Dame quarterback who knew he wasn't going to win the starting job in South Bend, so transferred to Syracuse, got into a battle with Ricky Collins, and ended up winning that battle. Now, Steve Angeli will have something in common with a huge chunk of this Syracuse roster, and that is he comes to the Orange from the transfer portal. Syracuse lost over 20 players to the portal, and that's not even including the players they lost to the NFL draft, including their starting quarterback. Fran Brown is essentially rebuilding this team from scratch. He lost Kyle McCord. He lost his best receiver, Trebor Pena, to Penn State. Almost at every level on both sides of the ball, Fran Brown is retooling with guys coming in via the transfer portal. Now, that can work one of two ways in college football. That can lead to building a very competitive football team. It can also lead to the exact opposite, as we saw with Florida State last year. Building a team in the portal is a risky play when you're bringing guys in from multiple different backgrounds, trying to fit a culture that they're not familiar with, and try to all get them assimilated towards one similar goal. And that's not even talking about ingraining them in the offensive and defensive playbook. Tennessee gets Syracuse in week one of that effort. So the Vols, while they do replace a lot, are mostly still made up with the foundation of talent that comes out of high school football. And the talent profile for Tennessee is absolutely much higher than Syracuse in terms of the way the Vols have recruited in recent years. Tennessee, on paper, is unquestionably a more talented team than the Syracuse Orange. Meanwhile, Syracuse is trying to build their team through the transfer portal, and they still will have a lot of growing to do as a football team throughout the course of the season. So the Vols have the luxury of seeing that version of Syracuse right out of the gate. Now, one guy to look out for will be Syracuse wide receiver Jonte Cook, who comes over from Texas, a former five-star guy that I expect they'll try to quickly get comfortable with new quarterback Steve Angeli. How do the Vols avoid an upset loss in this one? For me, it's simple. Take care of the football and ground and pound Syracuse in the run game. Tennessee should absolutely have that advantage up front. I expect them to lean into it. Joey Aguilar may not be dropping back 35 times in this game. If he's not, it's probably a good thing for the Vols, who are massive favorites going into Atlanta, and they're going to try to act like it to kick off the season.